Turn your radio down. Turn your radio down. I did that just to make Michael laugh. Folks, look, it's December. It's the end of the year. 2024 has been a ride, to be nice, but we have got a breakdown of some of our favorite things from geek culture in this year of geek that was 2024. Job, are you ready?
Yep.
Michael, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Robert, are you ready?
Yeah.
World, are you ready? Of course you're not. Absolutely not. Why would you be? It's a rainy day here in Jersey, so let's make the sun shine, all right? Folks, let's have some fun. Yeah. I don't know. And folks, welcome to another episode of TBA News presented by the Hungry Bleak Show. Thank you very much to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I almost thought that I said Facebook wrong. I had to really think about it for about 5 seconds. Like, is it really called Facebook? Is it? So
Yes.
Think about it. It's a very odd name, what have you. Folks,
Meta.
welcome to the show. Yeah, it's very meta. Folks, welcome to the show. I am one of your co-hosts, Antonio Pomares, aka the Hungry Bleak. You can take that however you want. And let's start with the lady.
Jabba Chan, what's up?
And let's go with this illustrious gentleman right this way. Damn.
Robert J.
And this gentleman here.
Mike Williams here.
There you go, folks. So we're already cutting up. Apparently, one of us had brown liquor. I'm not going to say who it was, but whatever.
Drop that cup.
That's it. So, folks, 2004 was a huge year in geek. I mean, we had a lot of stuff going on between animation, gaming, comics, movies, series. Across the board, there was so much out there, and that's just a few of the areas that you can talk about. But we're going to talk about a few things. Each of my co-hosts here, this illustrious team that I have, has been working nonstop, fingers to the bone. They have been skipping meals. That you notice that no one here has braids today because we didn't have time to sit in the chairs. We had to do the work to make this what it is for y'all. I honestly don't care. You have braids or not. Mine fell out last week. It's fine to worry about. So let's start up with the lady of the room, Jabba. What have you got for us?
Well, I would have to say for my pick for 2024 in anime is definitely One Piece. I know it's a long journey, but your girl actually started her journey back in November of last year and is finally caught up this year. So I'm up to date on all of One Piece. One thing I do like about it now as an adult versus as a child is that it's definitely not for kids. And the animation gets a lot better over time. So I can appreciate that. And also they got some good anime openings for the anime as well.
They definitely do. Also, the live action series which we got, which was a nice accompaniment to that.
Yeah.
Bring new people in.
Definitely
awesome.
is.
All right. What else have you got for us?
I also have the Demon Slayer, which is so good. Animation is so fire. Like, I feel like anime has gotten really, really good with like their fight scenes because it's nothing but just like, heavy hitters like one after another. And I can't wait for next year when they start announcing for the last season, which is season 4, I believe, and that's gonna be a movie. It's gonna be movie parts, so it's like 3 movies separate that they're gonna be showcasing for next year.
So similar to how they did Mugen Train, but just 3 of them.
Yeah. So even though you did have the option at the time when it was Funimation and Crunchyroll by themselves, when they would show the episodes instead of the movie, you had the option. But this one, I believe, is just strictly the movie. But they can also probably break it up into episodes as well. I don't know, but I just know it's going to be 3 movies.
Oh wow! I'm excited about that. Now I really have to dive back in and catch up.
Hurry up!
I'm trying. There's like everybody comes out with a show every 2 minutes. I mean, Robert just started his production company like 10 minutes ago. He's got like 3 series that are up for like renewal already.
Well, then hurry up then.
I'm outpacing Tyler Perry at this point.
And I'm sure your wig budget is much better.
Oh, we got so many wigs. So many wigs. Apparently, I'm not wearing one right now.
That's outstanding because I got a hairline for a wig. Jabba, what's your next one?
Wait, who's going? I go.
You. Yes.
Me?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. And then last one is I got for gaming at least is Destiny 2
Yes.
with their latest expansion, which is the final shape. I would say this is one of like the best ones that we've had so far, as far as expansions go. It's very team effort. If you want to do this solo, yeah, but like you'll be very frustrated. I already know that, but it's very, very heavily team based, which I do kind of enjoy because it brings back the community of Destiny as far as like co-op and stuff.
That's very important. Yeah, Destiny has, because of the long period that we had without a new that final shape was not given.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense, and it has just been amazing, and they've given us so much variety in there. And like you said, that team effort is so vital, especially some missions you have to have a fire team. But even in the story, they've really focused on team and what it means to be a part of a team. And
Yeah.
those are great choices. I'm going to give one of mine for animation was The Legend of Vox Machina on Prime.
Yeah.
3 seasons, incredible story arc, incredible character development. I mean, it's like the D&D, but just on that brown liquor and no whatsoever. You get an incredible mix of humor, some dark humor, very incredible tender moments between people. The fight scenes just gradually become so much more complicated and just beautiful, almost to an anime-esque point in the third season. Which one scene I was like, wait, hold on, I didn't know it was going to be like that. Even the opening changes and becomes more grandiose. You get a great deal of character development as well. This group that you don't think you're going to get any development, and they end up becoming these characters that you are not just rooting for because they're this ragtag group of heroes and the worst guild in that town, but they become the heroes and they become the saviors of this town and possibly the world against everything from marauders to dragons to this shadowy kind of figure that we don't know what's going on with bleeding eyes. I don't know. Those were fantastic picks, Job. I always appreciate what you bring in, and your gaming is obviously. But as far as gaming, I always appreciate what you've got to say because I listen to you with that, especially with Destiny, because you're one of my clan members. So obviously, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Robert, what have we got?
So for me, want to start off with kind of the comic book focus. And we've spoken about this on the Comics Shadow on our show, Kickstarter. Kickstarter has been huge for indie creatives this year, and it seems to the relationship between indie creatives, specifically Black indie creatives, and Kickstarter just continues to grow with like every year. So shout out to a few that we featured on the show: Terminus Veil, Epiphany Engine, the Comic Shop, which is still going on right now, Temporal 10th, the Raven Code, Stronghold, Scorpio, and Air Force Ones. The creatives being able to have this like platform to reach out to people and potential backers and donors is huge. And when you properly use the platform, I'm going to go ahead and put that out there. Because it becomes this thing of building a relationship with prospective fans and returning fans, and it allows you to, especially in a market where you can get outpaced by Marvel and DC if you try to keep going to the stores, because you're fighting for shelf space. But Kickstarter allows you to have that platform, and it seems as if Kickstarter is growing their relationship with indie creatives across the board. So I think 2024 was another representation of this. And I tell people in February, come back to their website and they will actually put out stats about how how basically money wise, like the amount of money that was raised on the platform and the amount of comic books that were funded through there. So I always tell like February 2025, go back to Kickstarter and check it out so you can see the actual numbers, which are pretty impressive. But the relationship between Black Indie Comics and Kickstarter, I think was huge for 2024.
It really has. And I mean, even some of the comics that you'll see now, big comics, comics that are getting animated series on Cartoon Network,
Mhm.
were on Kickstarter. So you can start there. And next thing you know, you can be sitting in a boardroom with executives talking about, I think this is how we should do my show, and doing storyboards and what have you. You never
Yeah.
know where you're going to start. Excuse me, you never know where you're going to end until you start. That's
Yeah.
the key thing for it. What else have you got for us, Robert?
So I guess the second thing I wanted to highlight was a publisher called Saturday AM. And one of the things, especially with attending conventions as a creative and vendor, um, and as a fan, because we just talked about a couple of anime, before. Manga and anime specifically within the Black community is huge. Like it's
Mhm.
very huge, and manga just in general in the U.S. is very big. So I just want to toss some numbers out there. U.S. manga market is projected to reach $3.71 billion by 2030, with a compound annual growth rate of 20.7 from 2024 to 2030. So within that, we got a lot of Black folks buying manga and supporting this not genre but this medium. So one of the publishers that continues to contribute some awesome manga content is Saturday AM. Hey, that's why we don't do it live. But Saturday AM. So over the course of 2024, they released 6 separate books, and it might be more, but Striker Volume 2, Apple Black Volume 5, Apple Black Origins, written by Stephanie Williams, which is a light novel, on Gun Hill Volume 2, and the massive multiplayer world of Ghost. The two that I'm more familiar with are Clock Striker and Apple Black. Those are 2 series I recommend people pick up. But the fact that you have a Black run and actually just more inclusive publisher that is putting out manga for everybody, but with the focus of POCs is huge. So I definitely think that 2024 was a big year for Saturday AM. I think Clock Striker is actually Volume 2 has actually been included on a couple of best of manga lists for this year, and is worth checking out. I am a kind of a newbie when it comes to manga specifically, and this has kind of become my like entry point. I love seeing Black folks, in this medium. So I definitely recommend people check out Saturday AM, and I think 2024 was a huge year for the publisher.
Yeah, and because I remember you spoke about them and everything, and it got me interested. So I'm excited to see what happens in 2025, 2026, 2027, and so forth and so on and on and on to the break of dawn. It's on. I'm gonna keep doing stuff like that. I'm gonna keep having these segues that don't make any sense at all to hit on stuff that only 3 people know about. Right, Robert, what's your next one?
The last one is kind of comics adjacent, but it's more animation, and it's more general because I know Mike is going to speak about one of these series in depth. But I wanted to just kind of highlight or focus on the state of animation in this year, with titles like Scavenger Reign, Arcane, Invincible, Fight Girl, X-Men '97, and actually Bob's Burgers. Particularly with Bob's Burgers, they've actually, I don't know if this might be their last season, but they are creatively doing some very interesting storytelling, which is against the mold of what they normally do. It hasn't gotten to the point of like The Simpsons where that needs to be let out into the backyard. And anyways, but I just think that Bob's Burgers have been really good, but specifically these 5, they represent, I think, different types of storytelling that you can do within this medium if these networks and streaming platforms allow the stories to continue to be told. Rest in peace, Scavenger's Reign. But we have Invincible Fight Girl, which I think every wrestling fan, every anime fan, every person who has been looking for representation in animation should watch. But I think that we are living in a really good time where creatively there's a lot of different stuff out there. But the sad thing is often you have large companies that feel if you don't get a lot of eyes on this product, then they will ultimately cancel the stuff
Mhm.
for a variety of reasons. So that's just one thing. I think we're, like I said, creatively, diversity wise, we're living in a really good time. But also, I think that there is still a struggle with studios which are closing, like Cartoon Network, um, and other studios with experiencing mass layoffs. We're like in a good kind of bad time. It's this weird balance. But I definitely recommend that if you love animation, it doesn't necessarily have to be like, you know, kick-ass boom boom type of stuff or whatever, exciting stuff. You can get like slice of life dramas and try to find something that works for you and just support animation as much as possible. But I think that 2024 was a good representation of that. So
You're definitely right with that. And I like the fact that the ones that you picked that you just spoke on were that's a nice variety of what you can get in animation. Animation is not just one thing anymore. It's not
Mhm.
just this. There's so many different things, and you can have humor, you can have adventure, you can have chills, you can have thrills, you can have run the gamut of everything in every genre with animation, and you can do even things that you might not be able to do in live action. Like there's some actions that you can't do. I don't care what type of athletic person you are, some things you're just not going to be able to do. The universe just ain't made for you right now. Give us
Right.
another 100 years. It ain't made for you right now. It just isn't. But it's true. So those are great picks, Robert, as always. For me, I'm going to go with a comic that hit me this year and it actually made me stop and think and made me think about how I look at comics and how I even look at when I review or analyze something. It was Something is Killing the Children. Uh, Issue 39 and 40, I want to say, of their latest trade. It was something that made me actually stop and think of how storytelling is done, how storytelling is done with pictures, how storytelling is done with animation. Everything. There was a volume where these were 5 standalone stories about Erica Slaughter, and they were actually before the events of Archer's Peak. If you've read the series, you know Archer's Peak is where everything started. And one story is where she goes to a therapist and she's talking to the therapist. Normally every other story is her action, adventure, drama. She's fighting a monster. There's chills, there's horror, blood everywhere. And it was her speaking to this therapist, and it was her first time with the therapist, and she was actually there to get the therapist to speak to a child who had gone through a terrible ordeal in that town. But the therapist ends up speaking to her, and it ends up becoming her session without her knowing or without her wanting it. And the tension in that room was probably more filled than any fight I've seen with her, whether it was Monster, whether it was other members of different houses, backstory, anything. It was one of the most riveting things I had ever read. The next story was the other story was a story about why she doesn't like to use guns. Whenever you're reading Something's Killing Children, you sometimes might wonder, why don't they just use guns? There's a reason. And the story culminates in a very chilling moment that I had to actually close my tablet, put it to the side, and I had to sit there and think. I had to really think and deal with that because you become so invested. So I came up with this thing about how I review and how I look at things. I don't know what you call the diagram, but it's the one that goes in a circle. Not a pie chart, but the one that has the arrows. I know I'm not very bright. I apologize, folks, but I'm very cute. So I mean, it balances. I'm not bright, but I'm cute and I can cook. So I mean, it's a balance. And I got a lot of hats. I don't know who got more hats, me or Cross, but I mean, both got a lot of hats. So everything starts with cool factor. Hey, this is cool. This is great. It's something new. It's very flashy, what have you. Okay, great. But then it goes to, does it intrigue me? If it intrigues me, I want to know more about this world. I want to know about the characters, then I become invested. When I'm invested, I like that. When I'm invested, I want to know what happens in that room. What happens? I begin to care. Once I begin to care, then it becomes cool again. And it's that circle. And those two comics made me go through that and made me go, wow, and think about how I did it. So I appreciate that so much from that team. Amazing comic, phenomenal stuff. Yeah. So Something's Killing the Children would be my those particular issues would be my comics of the year, those moments of the year, because it made me think. Michael, Cinema CEO, Cinema. Thought I wasn't going to get in this episode, did you?
Nah,
Of course I was.
of course.
What do you got, brother?
I just realized all three of my picks are in streaming. So if that doesn't tell you that what I think of as far as the now and future of the medium, I don't know what does. But my first pick I'm going to talk about is Cross on Amazon Prime. And Antonio can attest to this because we sat through a panel, one of the better panels that we sat through at Comic-Con that entire weekend for this. Shout out to Gwen Eiffel, who was probably the best moderator that we saw that weekend. Cross is it's just so much more than the James Patterson character, right? As far as the show goes, because it's everything that you want as a fan of James Patterson's character, Alex Cross, but it's also this. I don't even know how to describe it. It's this statement on blackness that is
black as fuck.
that too. But
sometimes you just got to say it. I'm not even gonna be mad at you.
Yeah, it's way better than I even imagined it would be. Like I had an expectation, and it vastly exceeded my expectation. And Antonio and I were talking about this in a previous show, just about how it kind of deals with, friendships and relationships and, current events that are still going on today, and things like that. So I'm glad that Aldous Hodge has gotten a chance to kind of get in front of more eyes for a lot of people, because he's been good for a very long time. And I might argue that he's probably the best representation of Alex Cross that I've seen. And I love Morgan Freeman. Trust me, I really do. But there's something about the way that Aldous Hodge plays this that's just really, really different and timely and needed. So I definitely recommend Alex Cross if you haven't. I definitely recommend Cross if you haven't seen it yet. It is well worth your time. 8 episodes, relatively short, because according to Antonio, shorter is better. And,
5-5.
And yeah, definitely check out Alex Cross. My next pick would be a show on HBO Max, a little show called The Penguin.
I kind of heard of it, maybe.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
I heard of it.
Yeah. A spinoff from The Batman. Just everything that they've done as far as this representation of Oswald Cobb has just been a revelation, right? And to put this up against their actual competition, which would be Marvel's shows on Disney Plus, I feel like this is what Disney Plus really wanted to do and have done haphazardly with their shows as far as spin-offs from their movies or continuations until the next big thing comes on or comes out, I should say. The Penguin is just amazing. Like, arguably the Penguin is the Sopranos of the Batman world, and that is a huge compliment. Like a huge compliment. Sort of just how we get to know what and what Oswald Cobb finally becomes by the time we get to that last episode, and all the things that he goes through. It kind of forces you to root for him, even though he's a bad guy, and he makes really, really questionable choices. It's almost like you're like, you want him to come out on top, even though it's not going to be good, even when he does, which is one of the better things about the way the show is written. And it also is that it's helmed by a woman who, and again, I say this all the time. Like, there are a lot of women who are in geekdom who actually get these things that we love and get them even more than we do, even more than guys do, right? So it's everything that you would want in a Batman spin-off type show that leads into the next big movie that's coming in the future. So again, another short series, 8 episodes. They're looking out for you, Antonio. And
I'm saying.
yeah, I would definitely give it a chance to actually enjoy the show because it's amazing. It really is amazing. And my third pick, to Robert's lead into me getting here. I recently finished Arcane. And Arcane is a weird show for me, right? Because I started the first season a while ago, and I think what happened is that I got kind of discouraged by that first episode because that first episode was kind of slow. And I was like, I'll come back to this because I have, and Antonio will tell you this, I have millions of things in my queue to watch. So I got sidetracked and didn't come back to it. But then when I saw season 2 come out and the reviews for season 2 were off the charts, and then I had heard that story that's been floating out there about they spent $250 million on this show. I was like, what? I was like, $250 million on an animated show? I'm like, let me go back and watch this. And I finished it like a week and a half ago. Amazing. Like, just amazing. Like the animation is amazing, but the writing for this show is bananas. Like, I don't know very many shows that, even in live action, that are this well written. Right? And this is going to sound like a weird comp when I say this, but this series almost makes me think of when I went way back, and I'm dating myself now, way back when I went to the theater to see Final Fantasy Spirits Within.
Wow.
Anybody remember that movie?
Yep.
Yeah. Weirdly, I thought then that was the future of sort of video game to movie adaptations, animation, and things like that. That movie fell flat. This does not. This is everything that I kind of thought that movie would have been and more. And it's weird because one day I just came out of my head and said this after watching an episode of Arcane. I was like, I can't believe that I've lived long enough to see the cutscenes of video games become primary entertainment. That is crazy to me. Right? So, yeah, Arcane, again, very timely story about the haves and the have-nots and class and war and oppression and things like that. You definitely need to see the show. And I'm hopeful that they will work on the spin-offs that they've been talking about that they're going to work on for the show because we need more of this. Like, this is stuff Netflix needs to invest in and not cancel. Like, they need to invest in these kind of things that are just well written and just well done. Like, all around, Arcane is 2 seasons worth, 9 episodes each, I think.
Yeah.
Definitely worth your time.
Cross, absolutely. It's one of the best things out there, and but it's a different energy because it's not Morgan Freeman. It's a younger, cockier, and it's not Tyler Perry because it still gives more of a confidence to him. He even feels a little bit cockier than Tyler Perry. It's like he's a younger, cockier Alex Cross, and Aldous Hodge brings that energy to it so effortlessly, so well. And that show is a love letter to Black. It is
Yes.
a love letter to us, to especially to Black women too. It
Oh, yes.
definitely is. The show just hits on all points, and you get two mysteries, two storylines almost too.
Mm-hmm.
And the show hits. I totally understand why they had already renewed it for a second season before they even gave a premiere date for the first season,
Mm-hmm.
which was awesome. The Penguin, absolutely. One of the You don't even have to be a Batman fan to watch the Penguin. You can
Yeah.
just sit and enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's just that good and so captivating. And I love stories where the narrative is switched and you start rooting for the villain, even, and you're like, oh, I hope he doesn't get away with it and everything. It's like you do realize you're rooting for this like gangland boss who's going to be killing people. It's similar to what happened with you,
Mm-hmm.
where
Mhm.
people were rooting, and I'm like, at a certain point, I said, wait, this dude is horrible. No,
Yep.
I want him to get. I want him to get thrown in jail and arrested. This dude is out here killing people, and he's making up. He's this like this is a stalker. We're watching a stalker and rooting for him. This is
Exactly.
crazy. But stories that mess with a narrative like that and make you root for that person, and then at the end you go, oh wait, they had to do something so horrible at the end of Penguin where you like, oh wait, yeah, that is the Penguin, because you forget.
Yeah.
Because you see everything that Oz is going through with his mother and the trials and tribulations. When you see his foot and he's rubbing it and it cracks, I said, well, I'm rooting for you, man, because I know that foot hurt. He been on that foot for 10 hours and in church shoes. He ain't wearing sneakers. He ain't wearing no comfy socks. He wearing church shoes and dress socks. That ain't no joke. That's crazy. And you know Gotham is cold. Ain't never summer in Gotham. It's always cold. It's always winter. They got nuclear winter in Gotham. And
exactly.
Your final choice is Arcane. Arcane is funny to me that you picked that because I know how you are about animation.
Mm-hmm.
So when you said Arcane, I said, "Ooh, we're going to get something good with this one because I want to hear what he's got to say." Arcane, $250 million. Art is incredible. Cast is amazing. I was looking at the cast. I was like, "Wait, I didn't know it was you. It was you. It was you. People who I know and who I enjoy."
Yes.
And the character development again that you're getting in 18 episodes. And you don't have to know the game to enjoy it, which is what I like also.
Not at all. Yeah.
Again, shout out to Imagine Dragons. I think I've said that like 5 times this month. That's so weird for me to say. I would never thought I'd say that out loud, but the way they pair the music with those scenes and everything, you're getting love, you're getting excitement, you're getting adventure, you're getting the have and have nots, you're getting the narrative of who is the bad guy, and it plays that role of you don't know who is supposed to be the person. You don't. Which is what I love about it as well. Anything that messes with a narrative, I love, because you go at the end, you're like, oh, I was rooting for X, Y, and Z, and I shouldn't have. You know, so for me, I'm gonna go left on everybody, and I'm gonna say my moment of 2024, as far as this was Swerve Strickland becoming AEW World Champion. The most dangerous man in AEW, the most dangerous man in professional wrestling. One to watch in 2024, I said, and he won it. Amazing, from his entrance of Prince Nana, his manager, coming out with a cup of coffee, throwing it into the crowd and dancing, and then when you hear garments and he comes out, it is a feast. Swerve is one of those wrestlers who was just dynamic on the mic, in the ring, whether he is doing a swerve stomp, whether he's giving you big pressure, or whether it's giving you a house call kick in the back of your head, he delivers on each and everything. To see him go from Lucha Underground and being kill shot, then I saw him in NXT, and now to see him in AEW becoming his own, and his rivalry with Hangman Adam Page, it's just been diabolically, dastardly work, folks. And this is how good it is. I am retiring Diabolical. I am no longer saying Diabolical. You will not get that on any more episode. That's how I'm gonna use it right now. That's how Diabolical was. I don't know why I'm giving you the hands. I don't know. It's a good show. Is it a nice lady? I don't know. Harry's good with his stuff. And the next president, I don't know. He's one of those. Even when he doesn't have the belt, you just are looking at him because he's incredible. And he's just one of those people that I feel every year is just going to be more and more and more. I want to see more from Swerve, and just incredible work. Congratulations to him. He's just one of those wrestlers. I was like, yes, I want to see everything that he comes up with. And Yeah, he went through a rough patch with WWE with a hit row and being released and them coming back and what have you, and him sticking to his guns, saying no, this is where I'm going to go, and he definitely made it, and he became a champion, and he was a incredible champion, phenomenal stuff, loved it. Never seen better coats on anyone either. This man has a coat budget that would make Nasha blush. It's ridiculous. His coat budget is amazing. So those are our picks, but let me ask y'all real quick. What is something that you're looking forward to in 2025?
I'll double dutch, jump right in.
I thought you were going to go crazy.
Yeah, I'll do two things. One is Starfleet Academy.
Oh,
There,
yes. Okay.
yeah, there's a new series coming to Paramount Plus, and I'm the resident Trekkie. I don't know. Always say the Enterprise blueprint behind my head, which is very small tonight, but punched up head, right? But that's a show that I'm looking forward to, and Trek fans have actually been wanting for a while. Like we've wanted a series that has been set at the Academy, and the fact that it's going to be spoiler set in the future where Discovery is now set. Is going to be pretty cool to see. So we'll be able to see some of those characters kind of be involved, but also they have some big names. I know Paul Giamatti is going to be in it. There's I cannot remember the actress's name, but they have some big names, including some fan favorites. I know the Doctor is coming back as the hologram, as the hologram Doctor, and I like the fact that they are growing the cast for different generations. So we have a completely new cast of like younger actors who are going to be students at the Academy. So, and apparently there's going to be like a big threat. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I think the second thing that I'm looking forward to is and taking it away from indie comics, which is always going to be first and foremost, but I want to see what DC Studios is going to do with Superman, and I still have yet to see Creature Commandos, but I think Superman back at the theaters, directed by and written by James Gunn, that's going to be honestly the true start for that studio, and with the vibe that we have now with comic book movies and TV shows, more so movies, I think, because the TV shows I think are doing all right. We had Agatha all along and The Penguin, so that's like prestige TV. But when it comes to the films, a lot of people are like on the fence. But I think that this Superman, partly filmed down here in Georgia, has to hit. Otherwise, I think that studio they're going to have to. It has to hit big for them to have some success, even with the Green Lantern show that's coming up and all the other stuff. So it's like I think things are riding hard on this, and I wish them the best because I don't want any of these studios to fail when it comes to these adaptations. I'm not an evil nerd, but it's a lot riding on the back of this one movie. I think more so than Creature Commandos. So those are the two kind of big geek things that I'm looking forward to, outside of anything in indie comics. So that's a whole complete list, different list.
That's a list I can go on for about 2 years.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna say, I'll be honest with you, I'm gonna say Solo Leveling season 2. I got to go with that. Solo Leveling season 1 completely threw me. I wasn't expecting. I didn't know anything about. I knew kind of what it was about. I always wanted to read the manga, but I have trouble reading manga. Just because it's backwards for me, so I have trouble reading it. I can't. It doesn't work for me, unfortunately. So when I saw that the anime was coming out, it was great, and it blew me away. It was not what I was expecting. The first episode gets trashed. I was like, well, that's the end of the show, I guess. Credits, we're rolling, done. This is the cheapest anime that was ever made. It was only one episode. You serious? And it just goes from there, and it becomes this story of you becoming something more and doing everything yourself, and it kind of blew me away with it. And the ending, I was like, oh, so I really want to go back and rewatch it and have a different perspective on it, then watch the second season. But I'm excited to see that because want to see what happens to that character because it was very interesting to me to see it.
Oh, I'll jump in. I'll
Yes.
do my double dash and jump in. What I'm looking forward to, like, one, two, three. No. What I'm looking forward to for next year is actually going back to the conventions. As you know from like all of our talks that we have on the show, Beyonce will be going back on tour 2025. So there'll be a couple new shows that I'll be attending to. Yeah, you can be my backup dancer.
all the single ladies? No, we're not doing that no more.
Yeah, so there'll be a couple new shows that I'll be attending. Some that are getting like revamped, and some that I'm looking forward to, and one that I'm going to as just an attendee, Dragon Con. So I'm going to that one next year, just as an attendee. It's like my little
That's still a
vacation.
great show. Okay, cool.
So yeah,
Yeah.
and then it's also I want to like see also any like voice actors, like artists, because it was like a little like reunion for me. I'm like, oh hey, I haven't seen you like a couple months. How you doing? What's going on?
I love it. I always appreciate when you go to a show and you come back and you tell me like how the show was. But I always appreciate it because you do so many shows. Like I love this. I love it and don't love it. I love this era of like the journeyers. I see all of you creators and creatives going out to every show possible that you can get to. Like if you had a teleport, I know that you'd be on shows at Mars, like that type of mentality. Mm-hmm. And all of you going out and constantly doing it. So when you come back and you report on one and you're talking about it, you're like, oh, well, this show was good. I love this one, this way. And even the tips that you had when we did tips for cons of not just being on as an attendee, but also as a vendor. I always appreciate that because I was like, oh, maybe something I hadn't thought about as far as what people on the other side of the table are thinking you're doing or what they have to do to prepare for the show. So I appreciate that. So I will love hearing about your tales at these other events, especially Dragon Con too. M Shy S Dash, one of the best, always one of the most supportive people, says same job the same. So I didn't realize Beyonce was out there, so I gotta get on the horn and obviously get my cowboy hat and get out there.
Is that what you gotta do, brother?
Yeah, I'm going to get a cowboy hat and get out there. Obviously. Not 10-gallon, probably like maybe a 5-gallon because the budget's a little tight. Maybe like a 5-gallon.
You don't want a Doug Dimmadome hat?
5, no.
You sure not a Doug Dimmadome hat? Like really big tall ones?
I don't have a scalp for it. Scalp tight, scalp mad tight. It's tight.
You can only afford a 5-gallon, bro. Because you got to buy eggs next year. You know what I mean?
Damn, yeah, man, you're right. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, to Robert's point, like about not being an evil nerd, like I completely agree with that because
thank you, M Shy, for that as well.
I am somebody who wants to support all of this stuff that's coming out, right? Because the more it succeeds, the better it is for all of us nerds, right? So, there's that thing, right? And I almost now have to kind of tune myself out of social media and people's reactions to things and people's criticisms of things because it's like I just can't listen to that stuff anymore because it's like, okay, like you either didn't get it or you're just being a hater, right? So I get exactly where Robert is on that. So with that being said, like I'm definitely looking forward to whatever the Superman is going to be, right? Because I have certain feelings on Superman at this point. And, they almost are going to have to hit with that, right? And there's part of it for me that also kind of makes me think that they're already nervous about this, right? Because they're talking about, and you've probably seen these stories, like they're talking about trying to somehow shoehorn Robert Pattinson's Batman into this universe. So we'll see. We'll see. So definitely looking at the Superman thing for one thing. Another thing that I'm really looking at is Alien Earth.
Oh yeah.
I am highly excited that they're even doing an Alien weekly series at this point, and I'm just curious to see not only the way it looks, although what little I've seen as far as that teaser trailer looks really, really good,
Mhm.
but just what the narrative thread for that show is, and if it's as good as I think it can be. Um, I mean, the guy who's writing it is actually the same guy who wrote Legion. He's written some other things too on FX. So I'm really interested in seeing where that goes. Um, and the other big thing that I'm looking at is Netflix's potential to kind of be like, take that, bitches, with with the live streaming of WWE content weekly. You know, like this is their opportunity to kind of put pressure on everybody else. You know, to kind of either up their live streaming game or start looking for content that can be done live weekly. Like, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Like they can only go up from what happened with Tyson and Paul. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Everything they've done live, because you notice they've been doing more live stuff. It's all to
Mhm.
test for that. I mean,
Mhm.
let's
Yeah.
be honest,
Mhm.
it is.
Yeah.
But because they had everyone's in LA, which was hosted by John Mulaney, which was like this special that they had
Mhm.
6 episodes, I think it may have been. Yeah, 6 episodes.
Mhm.
That was like a test for them. Not that John Mulaney isn't funny. I do enjoy him as a comedian. He's one of my favorites, actually. I watch his specials continuously.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a very interesting thing to see what they're going to do, how that's going to work out. AEW is going to be doing, they're going to actually have their shows on Max, not streaming, but you will be like not live stream, but you'll be able to watch them on Max either that day or the next day, I want to say.
Mhm.
But AEW is going to have to do something to try and figure this out. TNA, which is the third like big company in North America, already has like their own like app streaming thing, what have you. It's not that
Mhm.
big. TNA is like a smaller company. So it's going to be interesting to see what Netflix does, how it performs, and technically how it performs. With the
Mhm.
gaff, like you said, that happened during the Tyson fight, people are going to go for that every week. But you have to also remember that people are going to be that first month. January 6th is when they premiere. It's going to be a crazy show. You know they're going to have big names. I think they've been saying The Rock might be there. They might have John Cena. His odds are going to be there since it's going to be his retirement year. This is his like retirement tour. I think Becky Lynch is going to be on there, so they're going to have a stacked show, and it's going to be, I believe, going back to 3 hours. Not that they're going to have really have a time strain because it's live stream, but they're going to have to figure something out. It'll be a trial by error, so folks, don't expect that first show to go off perfectly. It's not. It's going to be fraught with things that are going to happen, but it's going to be growing pains for WWE, but more so for Netflix, which
Mhm.
I
will
would
be
definitely
very
say more of
interesting.
the Netflix part because they were gaslighting everybody. Was like, oh, check your Wi-Fi. But I'm like, look, I pay high time Wi-Fi. You can stream stuff. You ain't gaslighting me, okay?
No,
I pay
it
top
was
tier.
exactly like it was. So they're going to have to figure that out, but it's going to be a bit of a growing pain. It's not going to be it's not going to be perfect that first show. So just prepare yourself for that.
Yeah.
I
All
think.
right. So yes.
Well, I was also going to say what they also have another test with the Christmas Day football game.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
Oh
right.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot
yeah,
about
so I
that.
think that there are a couple of spots where they can kind of work out the kinks, hopefully, before the Tyson fight was what it was. And then I think the Christmas Day thing is going to be big, and then January 6th. So I
Mhm.
I think as with as many complaints that they got, they've been working like around the clock to get it working. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, once Netflix comes to my town, I'll be able to really straighten out and get everything straightened out. I'll get them into shape. You know what I mean? Yeah, I I got y'all. I got you because they're coming to my town like the next couple of years. I got y'all. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna go over there cracking the whip. I'm gonna take my chancla. Take. That's it.
Mhm.
Not playing around with y'all no more. People paying too much money for this.
Yes, as Antonio Palmares calls me for bail money. Yes.
That's it. I mean, I might text you. I don't know if they allow text for bail money. All right, so real quick before the end of the show, each of you, real quick, I want you to give me what was your best moment of 2024. We'll start with Michael.
Oh God.
I mean, if you want to pray on it, that's okay, brother. I mean, you know, you got to call the man upstairs. That's all right.
Best moment of 2024. Well, this is one of many, but this is one that does stand out for me.
Yes.
My first time going to Universal Studios Orlando with my girlfriend Danny, who Antonio knows and has met.
She all right.
Yeah,
Wow.
There's a particular Harry Potter ride there that she loves, and she's high into Harry Potter. And I don't think she got a chance to ride it the last time she had gone with her kids and her family. So we got to ride it, and the look on her face when we got to ride in the first car of this ride was worth the entire price that I paid for the trip. So that it's that moment, but it's many moments that I've had with her in the last almost year and a half that have just been amazing and different and life-changing and eye-opening and all of those things. Yeah. So that was very, very high on my list.
Well, I'm glad you had a good time. Hey, Robert, so what's your
Wow.
Danny's my half adopted sister. She just so I know I'm a catch hell, but whatever. Robert, what was your moment of 2024? I could care less. I love seeing that look on her face. It's hilarious.
Without going into it, 2024 was a rough year. It just was. And this was before November. It was, and that's how I would keep it. But one of the highlights, as far as a creative, was getting my first IMDb writing credit. I worked for a video game developer by the name of Blowfish Studios, and one of the games that I worked on was a series called Phantom Galaxies. You can go and check it out on Steam if you love Gundam. And I had a chance to co-write a script for an animated short called set within the Phantom Galaxies world called Into the Fire, and it's their first of a series of animated shorts that they're working on. So that was, strangely enough, that was towards the beginning of the year when the BS happened. And I was just, I had to sit back and say, you know, it's a bucket list goal that has been knocked off. It's a blessing. And, you know, I'm on IMDb now. And so that was a highlight within a, just going to be honest with you, like a dark year. So that was my personal highlight for the year. And so I'll leave it at that.
Outstanding. Java, what was your moment of the year?
I kind of got two moments, and I'll be really quick with both of them. The one was where I got to meet the late great Ken Page at one of the conventions. He you guys don't know, he's the voice of Oogie Boogie, and he was such a sweetheart. I feel like he could be like anybody's grandpa because he had like that aura about him. I was like, oh, I could talk to you all day. And I met him at Contropolis, New Jersey, and I was able to give him one of my postcards that I drew of Oogie Boogie for him as a gift. Cause I just wanted him to have him. Like I said, like I gave him my work, and I'm like, I feel so special. I'm like, yay! And then find out that he passed. I'm like, damn. I'm like, it's like I just saw you, and like now you're gone, and I'm like, it's so sad. but it was still like a highlight to me, like somebody like that you admire is a highlight of mine.
Mhm.
And then one other quick one is that I have like two of my worlds combined where my convention and my friends come together. I was at another show that one of my vendor buddies was working at, and they were going to go to Anime NYC. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll let people know that you're around. Thankfully enough, our family Joy, who went to Anime NYC, ended up finding my friends from the convention. I said, tell them that Java Chan sent you, and they found it. They tagged me in the Instagram post. So I was like, yeah, I'm building businesses for other people. I mean, even though it's like, not me selling, but like I want to promote other people's work, and especially people like us. I want to promote the work. So those are my two highlights of 2024.
That's outstanding. The year has been the year. So when I ask you that, I always want you to not just celebrate stuff that's outside and that's happening, but I also want you all to celebrate yourselves. Whether it's a personal event where you went to wash Dumbledore sandals or whatever the hell Danny did, or or whether you got an incredible credit on IMDb, or whether you were able to build fences and like have people connect across and say, hey, these are cool people, and they'll come back and they'll be there. And networking like that, whether professional or on a personal level, I always want people to celebrate that, because I'm very appreciative of the three of you and what we've been doing with TBA News. And I want to thank the three of you for coming along and doing shows and giving your analysis, what have you, and giving it all of there. I appreciate the three of you truly, and that's really real. I mean, Michael, you and I have done how many shows together? I mean, I don't know. Yeah. As soon as we can get Danny out of here, like we can do more shows. But seriously, no, I'm joking. No, I'm not. So, and I'll always appreciate the fact that we can have like 30 seconds before a show and we can link up and we already know where we have to go. No prep, what have you, because we've been there. Robert, I've known you for maybe 10 years, maybe about that. So, and appreciate you so much. And you were one of when I got out of hospital and I made two trips. I made a trip up to New York before New York Comic Con to come and see you for a couple of hours. Yep. Left, went home, then I had to be at Comic Con for 4 days and just killing myself. But seeing you there was so cool, and everything that you're doing. It was a dark year, you said, but every time you do something, you push and you keep going and you do it, and you are one of the inspirations. I don't care what anybody says out there, and you're one of the most supportive people in the community. I know it sounds funny when I say Underwire, but I swear you are one of the most supportive people out there. Whether your name is on a project or not, you are there and you support, and I always appreciate that regardless. Jabba, whether we are playing a game, whether we are talking about just going up to New York and just hanging out in Penn Station and not going anywhere else because of all the food that's there.
Yes.
Or whether we are talking about anime or what have you. We've only known each other for a couple of years, but you've been one of the coolest people possible. And I'm so thankful that to know you and to be friends with you, and just to say, it's always a pleasure when I see you, when I see you pop up. And I don't know if like what you're doing on your screen, but you've always got this hunch and you're like looking, I'm like, I don't know if she's building something. I don't know if she's like just hot wired. I don't know what's going on, but she's got something cooking right now. She's on it. And I always appreciate that. So I want to say thank you to each of you. And also to you out there watching, not you in the corner. I don't like you, Frank. Saw that shit you did last week. I don't appreciate it. But the rest of you,
that was awkward.
Frank knows what he did. I'm not playing with you, Frank. Take a shower. But the rest of you, thank you so very much for watching, subscribing, listening. Well, not listening anymore because we're more on video than audio. I appreciate it, and truly thank you to all the pancake heads out there. So next week there will be no Hungry Bleak show this week because you're getting a lot of me right now. It's a lot. You're getting 4 incredible black folks right here. That's a lot. You got to process that. You got to think about like. You got to talk to your priest or your imam or your rabbi, your monk, whatever your particular ideology is. You got to talk to that person. and figure out what's going on with your life and process all this. But next Friday, I will be back and I will be doing my year end show for comics. And I have a lot of comics. I've read over 200 comics this year.
Good for you.
No, it's not good for me. I didn't expect to read that many comics. I
I'm
actually
so
whittled down.
excited.
I actually whittled down. I was like, I can't read this much. And I did, because there was so much good stuff out there, and I'm happy about that. So I thank you so very much. Y'all got any final words?
Brother.
What's that, brother?
I'm gonna send you some bifocals.
Brother, you better send me some tries, brother. I got I need something for my cataracts, brother. I need something for my cataracts. Thank you to anybody who gets that Bernie Mac joke. Thank you. Do y'all have any final words for the folks?
I mean, thanks for the support. Thanks for watching all the
Yeah.
100 week shows. I mean,
It's almost like I'm trying to make a network or something.
Yeah.
Crazy idea.
Weird.
Why would somebody try and do that? Why would I just do that? Stop talking about it and just actually do it. It's crazy. Wow.
Yeah. I'll say thank you for having me, especially as a female, and a female of the chocolateness, because our voices don't get heard a lot, which is true. And like I said, like most likely in this realm, it's most like, you know, a guy world, like, you know, females pop up, it's like we're like unicorns, like, oh, you like this stuff too? I'm like, yeah, okay, like I'm top tier, I like this stuff.
As
You're
I
one of
said
the people,
earlier,
like, when it comes to
get it more than we do.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Like,
are
yeah, that's what I'm
welcome,
saying.
Jabba.
Like
Always
when Jabba
welcome.
talks about gaming, like I really like to know her perspective, because she knows specs and like she'll have details of everything going. So when she speaks about it, I'm like, okay, cool, great. There are certain things I'll like. A horror, anime are two things that if I want the perspective, I'll ask a black woman. Because I mean, well, actually, there are a lot of things I'll ask a black woman about as far as her perspective. I really don't care to hear about a lot of what men are saying. But present company accepted, obviously, because y'all got heads on your shoulders. But back in the day, it used to be like your stories. And if you don't know what I mean by stories, you a little too young. I'm talking soap operas. Back in the day, black women, you ask them about stories. Oh yeah, well, he's doing this and this, what have you. Stories are now anime, horror, and even gaming. Yeah. That's replaced what you might consider to be something like a sewing circle type of thing. So when I talk of anime, most times I'm talking to black women. I'll be honest with you. And they'll have that, they remember the names down packed. I'm like, yeah, the dude with the hair. Yeah. No idea what the hell. But I enjoy it because their takes are always so funny, so on point, and they love it. So I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all as well at home, sitting there, except for you, Frank. Tired of your shit. Get it together. Frank knows what he did. Take your shoelaces, just off your left shoe, though, not your right shoe, because that's petty. Y'all, I want to say thank you so very much. You have a very good evening. Enjoy the rest of it. Be safe. Drink water. And remember, keep turning those pages because your story is not over yet. Leave it better than you found it. All right? I'll see y'all later. Peace.
Bye.